Boom. See, now that all looks proper. It doesn't say testing broadcast anymore, which could have been half our problem, you know. You never know what's going on out there in the world. Hmm. I don't usually take jumpers out of any of my decks. It's been one of those things that I try to avoid as long as possible. And this new deck that I got here, beautiful, beautiful deck. I've been starting to lean towards taking jumpers a little bit more and trying to figure out if it's something I'll take for myself. Haven't decided 100% one way or the other yet, but it's been different, to say the least. It's been something else. No, sound detected. I can see sound coming on there right now, though. Don't blame me for being too quiet. Give me something to talk about. All I need is consent, and I can draw you a card. And of course, the replays will always be up on YouTube after the fact, so if you can't stick around for your card, you just gotta find it on YouTube after. We make it easy that way. Gotta make sure nothing gets, nothing doesn't get where it's supposed to be. And if you get the cards now while it's quiet, you don't have to get stuck with only a minute or two. You can actually get 4 or 5 minute reading. Advantages to coming in early when we start the show rather than once it's gotten ridiculous. And then it always gets ridiculous. I think that's one of the things I like most about the Tarot Thursday. The reality is there are so many people that would rather have the option of a word, a bit of advice, a bit of input. People do appreciate that little bit of contribute. And hey, if I don't have to work a Thursday, I won't work a Thursday. I'm not going to complain about that either. Oh, why should I complain about that? How often does a person get to, you know, take the day easily? Most cases, we're all eagerly anticipating the, the workload, the paycheck, and all the things that come with it, but sometimes the paycheck is the fact that you have time. Being able to appreciate that you have time is a superpower. Floor is open if anybody wants a card. The floor is open if anybody wants a card. Hi, Lauren. Mitchie. It's Mitchell that works the farm. Excellent programmer, feller. Bunny Life. R. Just a simple commanding R. get the rest of the alphabet people together and... Oh, that's a bad turn of phrase, sorry. I know a person that used to use the term X, and he used X to reference himself as 10, and I meant more so that, or Z, you think Mega Man Z, or not Mega Man Z, I guess it was a character in Mega Man that was called Z. But get a whole bunch of 26 people together that just use a single letter each. I don't know, little things like that out there in the world. Man, it's too early in the day to be already having foot and mouth syndrome. Whatever. Bonuses when you know your own intentions, as long as you stand by what was said. Because yeah, I did absolutely use that turn of phrase, but not accurately. Funny how the English language has catch you like that too. Like, diddler's a hell of a word, and the old people will absolutely run all over you for using it on them. Certain cities, though, you can't even call somebody a goof, because a goof's just as bad as a diddler. It's little things like that that pop up around the world. Language, it's really, really interesting that way, and English being the most easily perverted language of them all, I find. You can find turns of phrases for just about everything in it. It's a good time that way. Floor is open right now if anybody wants to put in consent for a tarot card. More than happy to start drawing at any point anybody would like one. Otherwise, you know, let's talk more nonsense about languages. Like, interpretation is simply a form of language itself. That's why I look at Catholicism, the Catholics and Christians as different kinds of language of the same thing. Like different dialects of different language or same language, because they all direct it back into a similar pattern, a similar God. What, though, when you start to find the parallels in the language between, say, the Christians, though, and the Wiccans? At what point do you start to take some of these similarities and not just being a random occurrence, but perhaps an accurate depiction of what is valid and what isn't valid? I think they call themselves the omniists these days. Trying to find that little bit of truth and that little bit of accuracy in each following, in each creed, in each religion, in each faith, so that from it you can kind of shape the best understanding of experience of life and cosmos that you can for yourself. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an omniist, because I know they're a lot more associated and affiliated than I am with anything, but I would say each of us are creating our own interpretation regardless of which creed or faith we choose to follow. It's the nature of the human experience to want to understand things on your level. It's no fun always having to reach out to try and understand everybody else. And so when you've got things that are just at your pace and at your level and on your tones and in your tongue, it's just easier to accept it that way. It's easier to embrace it. That's one of the key things. Spirituality should be something that is easy for you to express. And a lot of times, yeah, not rocket science like the scientist that just joined here. A lot of times you have to make sure that you're taking it bit by bit, not trying to understand the whole cosmic meaning of everything in the universe, but just trying to understand the meaning of your place in it. Getting comfortable with being yourself, fully, 100% fully. And that's not common. There's a lot of people that stress about their deathbed because they really didn't live a life that they're comfortable with in themselves. Regrets, remorse, and all those things kind of come back to make that passing moment a little bit of a harder one for you. But if you can put yourself away from having to be absolutely right, and instead direct yourself into just being comfortable with your spot, comfortable with the moment, it may make the affairs of the world a little bit less imperative. And not to diminish anyone that wants to be that kind of activist, but it's not for everybody. And knowing your place and knowing your moment is right with it. That's a good way to phrase it, actually. New to Ghoul. I like that one. Remove ego is to have tower moments. I love the tower card as a conversation piece because a lot of people get so spooked by it. But I see it as an opportunity for liberation. I always phrase it as Princess Peach being rescued by Mario from Bowser. And they destroy the castle every time they go through. And so you breaking down the castle is just trying to rescue your Princess Peach, trying to bring back that part of you that you value and that you love, and allowing yourself to let those walls come down and that established structure that was wrong to fail. Allows you then that liberation to move forward and create something new out of it. That's empowerment. Um, I approached ego death in the fashion of my spiritual walk was especially cruel to myself. Great duress, great form of punishment, and it worked really, really well in diminishing the need to be the most valuable. And that was my biggest crux. This is my universe and you're all just playing in it, was a phrase that I've used in the past. And the rephrase of it now is, I'm just skipping along universe to universe having my fun. It's still important to be you, the you that matters in all things. It's important to be that you that can be a contributor to the universal story. But the universal story is the priority. And while we are all participants to it, we are all actors and actresses in this great screenplay. And none of us are the main character because we can all be the main character and we can all be the supporting characters. That's the deep, intricate level to which it was written. And some of the young ones are now taking that to a deep level of losing identity into the cosmic flow. And I don't think that extreme is necessary. I don't think you have to lose your individuality to be part of the collective, but we are collective. We all sign contract. Best way to put it. We all agreed to the lifetime before we experienced it because consent is divine. As such, yes, we chose to get here in this time and in this way and in this place. We are all participants, willing participants. Very comfortable with my role in all things. Nicely detached. Getting too far into that detachment, though, is a bit of a danger zone. And as you're letting the ego slip away, as you're embracing that new joyous reality of yourself, don't get lost in heaven. Don't get so far out there that you forget you too are so crucial and so important and so valid in the universal walk that your story is going to enrich the universe in 100,000 ways. I got you. I'm always here. I live to serve and I serve to live. So you can reach out privately. You can join on any Thursday that you feel comfortable with. I know for spirituality, privacy is really big for a lot of people. And so happy, very happy to do things on the level that you need. Enjoy the walk too. Like this summer is going to be great. It's going to be phenomenal. There's an evolution of transformation this summer that we can't beat in the normal times. And with that extra chaos, I'm really excited to see what comes. Hi, P. Good to see you. The trust in the self, the faith in the self, right, Nude? If I am calm enough and with my walk, it's all written out in every sign around me, in every part of the planet, in every place that I visit. But to get down to that calmness sometimes is a struggle because we want to have that control. I like control, but it's not necessary. I know how this all goes. I know how this all plays out. I can see it written on the walls. I just got to trust that. P, let's draw you a card. And then go along in the day from there. That's part of it too. And I need to do more videos centered in on that. P, I hope you're still here. I did see your name pop off, but I'm going to have faith. Because you can also get the replay on YouTube. P. P, the environment is the 4 of coins. That's self-control, but self-control in the format of keeping things close to your chest, protective, defensive, mind on the money, money on the mind. The card for you is the King of Wands. King of Wands is very much centered around expression of one's power, one's dominance, one's assured control of their fate in the world, being able to execute their will appropriately and effectively. A ruler that sits high, tall and strong and proud, always proud because through his efforts and through his journey he has created what is available to him now in front of him. Allowing yourself to get into that state is a mixed blessing, because on the one hand you achieve this 100% through your own accomplishments and formation. The downside though is you know that the biggest fish always invites challenge, and so you can't rest completely in this moment. You still have to be somewhat ready for action and ready for activity. So, P, the big thing to remember here is act appropriately. They say it a lot in Pirates of the Caribbean, wait for the opportune moment, the moment to strike, the moment has to be right, it has to be correct, and your experience can tell you exactly when those moments are. You just have to keep self-control and the temperament until it is that time. The lion doesn't just chase, it pounces. It moves in carefully, stealthily, and accurately so that it can be in proper position to pounce upon the moment rather than alerting whatever it is pursuing and scaring it off sooner than it should. It has to be rooted deeply in self-control, but also in not denying the full potential of the power of the experience. Embrace the opportunity. Do it right for you, P. Good luck. Okay, Nude, let's do you next. P, good luck being the king. Big fish always invites challenge. Big fish always has to work to get the extra food. But it only got big by following what it knew works best. I would call it an opportunity for success, yes, but you can't rush in. You have to follow your best instincts, your best practices, and your best experiences. Nude, go. You're gonna laugh because, yeah, your instincts are always right on the money. At the bottom, the environment we're dealing with is the High Priestess. This usually relates towards the receiving of messages and the influence of thought, but I also like to paramount. The feminine energy is ultimately all space and all time. It is all fields. It is anything that can be existed within. And so it's also recognizing your potential and power that maintains within everything that you permeate, everything that exists around you. And the combination of the King of Pentacles being the top card, because Pentacles, Earth energy, we're seeing a double feminine in the very elemental nature of both of these cards, but a feminine energy directed with a masculine form is more, it's more akin to how a planet chooses to orbit to maintain the stability of its moons around it. It's more in line with the larger community and the larger connections and the larger formats there, and the unseen forces that keep them in good order and keep them in good way. It's easy to go out and feed a person. They got a full belly and they're feeling better in the day. But to be the one that establishes the food kitchen on the corner, that invites the others that join that community and create a larger network of support, that's still a masculine directed thrust, but now with a much more broader view to encompass a much larger dragnet. I use the food kitchen as an easy example, but the same application can be done in maintaining community almost anywhere. It comes down to how the people are invited into the interaction and how that community is maintained appropriately amongst each other. Some of the people you'll know won't exactly fit the mold. With the King of Pentacles, though, he can usually find a way to put them anywhere, to apply them anywhere. He gets a sense of each person's abilities and talents and can put all proper cogs into their proper place. The ones that simply aren't working cogs, that aren't proper people, the ones that your intuition is screaming unholy terror about, you got to follow your instincts on it. You got to trust what your mind is telling you, because it is all you. The whole field, the whole force, all the energies are ultimately you. And what you're feeling is not random chaos. It's a proper response to your spiritual alarm system. So deeply and truly, I would say hang tight and do what you know is going to be the most appropriate right motion for you. Build that community. That expansion of community is going to be phenomenal. That expulsion from community always causes some ripples, some negative effects, but it's worth it. When you have to take out the trash, it's worth it. Sucks to do, but it is worth it. My laundry has finished, so I'm going to go grab that really, really quick, and then I'll be right back to answer these questions that have come in. Bashar has dropped a question. Thank you so much, Shay. And I've got one from Cassandra. If you can't stay, find me on YouTube, but I'll answer the questions when I come back, and we'll start with those two. Gotta get my laundry. This is simply what you All right, laundry caught. Boop, boop, boop. Let's do this. It was Cassandra, then Shay. P, I try to keep it to one card each show. I'm so sorry. Feel free to follow me up next week or shoot me a message. We can book an appointment. Cassandra, will my crush ask me out? Now, phrasing on questions is always an important thing, Cassandra. And I say that because the answer, people love specific answers. If I give a specific answer, I'm telling a word over you that's compelling a particular universe. And I don't 100% agree with doing things that way. And so, will your crush ask you out? Focuses the energy on a specific person. Will somebody ask you out, or will you be approached by somebody that you feel rightly towards? Sometimes helps to paint a better picture. Just little things to consider. How questions are phrased. Cassandra asking about a connection with her crush. What have we got? Environment is 9 of Wands. It sucks because you probably approached this crush more likely if you felt like you had a little bit more of a background or stance to stand upon. The desires are there, the connection opportunity is there, but it's a lot of passion too. It's a lot of fire energy, so it's a lot of that passion of lust and passion of appearances and cravings. So If that is the direction you want to go, then the shift has to be in how you approach their attention. You're not going to catch their attention necessarily with the right words, but you will catch their attention with the right dress, with the right appearance, with the right hobby, with the right strut. As it is right now, I would say no, probably not going to approach unless you can change that bit that attracts that attention. But should you change that bit to attract attention? A big part of recognizing connection with people is recognizing what will you compromise to have that person in your life. Don't compromise more than you want to lose. Don't give up something that you really, truly, desperately need. Shay asking about a he. Doesn't say who the he is. Let's take a look about he for Shay here, Bashar. See, Two of Cups is a weird one. A lot of people are going to phrase it as love connections and bits like that, but I've always liked to point out these people are very different backgrounds and very different dress. There's interest and curiosity that exists there, and they're allowing each other to learn about each other's cultures through this exchange and just increasing the better yield out of it as a result. The environment is the star, direction, course, path. We have a guiding light, but where is it leading us to? My worry here with this Shay is that the energies don't line up to what one would call needing somebody. Needing somebody comes with commitments, responsibilities, and a lot of people like to say that the Two of Cups is that. I don't buy that right off the bat. I think the Two of Cups is leading to that development because it's part of the process. You got to get to know somebody before you can decide if you love somebody. But you have to go through the steps and you have to go through the evolutions in order to get yourself there. So find the pacing. If you put too much pressure on this too fast, it becomes overwhelming and it takes somebody away from the connection that you're looking for. If instead you can allow things to evolve and grow naturally, heal naturally, rediscover themselves naturally, things can come out a lot better. But too much intensity is not going to fare well in the long term. Rushing it to get to the final destination doesn't work. The guiding light of a star is only workable if you can move on to the next guiding point. And so the first star that you follow has to move on to the next star and the next star and the next star. If you don't allow it to go through that transformation of progress forward, the star doesn't take you anywhere. Don't rush, don't pressure. He is not yet committed into the depths that you might be committed to. And you got to make sure that you're letting this grow appropriately as possible. Thanks for coming out, Shay. Tammy, asking about the relationship with Tim. Specific question is, should I end the relationship with Tim? And I absolutely... No worries, Cassandra. I absolutely lament being the ender of relationships. I get it a little bit more than I want to admit. And so I'll look into this, but as with all my things, I like to look into it as a perspective of what's best in the overall situation. I am going to try and dodge doing a yes or no answer if possible, because the yes or no has to come from you, Tammy. No worries, Shay. Good luck pacing. Pacing, pacing, pacing. Tammy Frey. Oh good, they're going to make it easy for me. The environment, the background is the Page of Pentacles. The surface card is the Fate card. So, here's what we're looking at, Tammy. The Fate card is things are changing, things are spinning, things are evolving. You can feel the spin of fate against you and something new is going to happen. But what is that new that's going to happen? That's the true power behind it. If we let fate do random chance for us, then we don't really know what's going to come out of it as a result. But if we take control of things and move things in a particular way, then the control is now ours, and we can move ourselves based on our own desires. This is hard for some people though, because quite often they've lived for a long time underneath somebody else's efforts, and so they feel like they're an apprentice within the world, or that they don't have the understanding, the logic, the background, the money. They don't have the foundation that would allow for such changes or would allow for such moves. So on the surface, there's the question, but underneath it all is more the dilemma of what would be the process of it if you did? What would that look like? How would that shape out? What would that become? Uh, what would that evolve into? This, I think, is one of the most critical pieces for all people that are in tough spots in relationships. Because if you can't visualize yourself separate from that relationship, then throwing yourself out of it into a new life is almost a traumatic experience at that point. Because you've taken all that you know and thrown it aside. Or you've taken what's supportive, you've thrown it down. Or you've taken what is familiar and erased it. That's the part that holds most people to toxic relationships. It's familiar. It's still feeding me and this and that. Should I actually leave it? And I would always say yes. Yes. If you are genuinely unhappy, under abuse, under toxicity, or in some way being kept back from your best growth and development, then yes, you should leave that relationship. But leave that relationship under your own control. Have a plan figured out. Have direction figured out. Have income figured out. Have all the pieces that you need for the most basic of livelihoods. Don't find a livelihood that's going to be the same as your current lifestyle, because that's not going to be. The lifestyle that you're going to has to be different. And part of that may involve some downsizing or some shifting some things around. But if you do it under your own control, then you feel the control, you feel the direction coursing through you based on your own design. It's no longer somebody else's decision over your own fate. And that to me is the deep important lesson of the Wheel of Fate. Would you rather have this be somebody else's power over you, or would you rather have this be something under your own power, something under your own control? Make this moment yours as best as you can. Move yourself through it that way. Good luck, Tammy. Measure it carefully, and if you are truly 100% ready, you're not asking me for answers. You're asking me for affirmation. And I don't mind affirming people if they're really at that point. I'm very happy to affirm people if they feel it's time to move out of a toxic relationship or a bad relationship. But is it toxic? Is it bad? Or is it just stagnant? As we start looking at our plans, as we start looking at our designs, there's the note on the head. We start to realize what's really, really missing. And there's so many ways to reinforce what we need in life. Make sure that we're doing it in a way that we are comfortable with ourselves in. Sometimes people make romance too much about the partnership and not enough about the adoration and fascination with the other person. Love, true romantic love, has to come with that fascination. And so make sure you're finding the one that's utterly fascinated with you. Open floor right now, if anybody's interested in a card. It is open floor right now, if anybody wants a card. I see people popping in and popping out. Hello, Haley Jackson. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. Gina Francis, Lady Gwen, Malika Oyambia? Neat names either way. M, C, there are other letters. There's R, there's M. I will collect a whole alphabet today, I swear. There was P, forgot about P. I drew a card for P. I should be nice about that. Curious Katori. Thanks for the follow. Much appreciated. I flipped some cards so badly. Oops. No. Just fix that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Maria. Let's draw a card for Maria. Hi, Malika. We'll get you on the list right after Marika. Maria, sorry. Maria looking for just a basic card. Maria. In the environment of the Emperor, that is authority, direction, legacy, and lineage. Very, very strong with that one. Ace of Wands coming up being the action and the energy. So Maria, the fun with this one is it is about the expression of the self through the lineage. And this is a really powerful combination for seeing what is a biggest priority in that. Specifically, fortunately, the children. The children become that impressionable piece that moves forward from us, new evolutions, new discoveries, and new formats. And I'm not sure if it's highlighting children in your regard because there is children around you that need that care, or if it is sort of a personal desire and personal pursuit for yourself. But now is the time to start thinking about what it is that is imprinted upon them. Some advice I was given once upon a time is, if you have children, imprint upon them your values and your beliefs, and if those values and beliefs are of good quality, your children will continue on with them. That way, the works that you start in this world will be continued through your children, and your legacy becomes your values and your beliefs over the generations. In a lot of ways, we become role models, not just to our own kids, but to all children around us. And we start to be able to demonstrate a certain way of being through our own selves and through our own self. Pro to this is if we're in strong form and strong position, we're guiding people through the example and they grow into better places. But if we're in a bad form, enduring suffering or in toxic relationships that we shouldn't be in, sometimes the example that we're given isn't necessarily the one we want our kids to replicate. When that happens, you have to change your example. You have to change what you're demonstrating. You have to change what you're showing. And bringing out that new you proves both the ability to change and transform, but also demonstrates to the younger generation the need to change and transform. It demonstrates accountability, and it demonstrates responsibility. So make sure that responsibility and that bright light of truth is coming out properly, Maria. Make sure it is something of an expression that you feel is appropriate. Yourself, genuine being kind of a key term with the truth of the Ace of Wands. It has to be genuine expression and provide the best example for all of those around you. Good things will come from it as a result, I promise. Good luck, Maria. Malika was asking about Marcus. Marcus and the relationship back. Let's see what we've got for Malika. No worries, Maria. Good luck out there. And remember, your light is worth showing. Shine brightly, because it is worth knowing. Let it be seen. Malika. The environment is the Knight of Swords. Thoughts racing is sometimes an element that comes up with the Knight of Swords, and sometimes you catch a Knight of Swords on a bad day and they just seem off touch and out of corner. Hi, Smart Triumph. I'll get you on the list after Malika here. So Malika, when a person's going through the Knight of Swords dynamic, or when it experiences Knight of Swords dynamic, expect rapid change, rapid information, rapid exchange, but that information changes quickly too. And so you hear a whisper that somebody was crying in the porta potty one day, and then you find out that they're grinding with the crowd the next day. And the two bits of information don't always match. What we're seeing is somebody going through rapid progression and rapid change as they're trying to get to a final understanding of something. The final understanding, though, is heartbreak. I would say between both of you, the heartache is fairly consistent. Three of Swords heartaches are missing people, missing things. Things are just not quite right. This isn't quite appropriate. This isn't what we expected. This can be a bit of a trick feeling, because on the one hand, sometimes when people get that Three of Swords dynamic, they think, well, maybe the breakup was wrong, maybe it was inappropriate, maybe we should still be trying. Like, what are we doing here? Where is that familiar thing? Typically, when we're dwelling on those feelings, it's because the wound is still in the heart. The ache, the pain, the suffering, it's still right there in the heart. And so you get left in this odd state of, I need them back to heal me. The thing is they're the one that put that sword in your heart in the first place, so needing them back so that they can be part of the healing is always a catch-22. Are they coming back so that they can stab you again? Are you inviting them in for a moment of what's going to be more trauma? Is it going to be truly healing? And those things need to be addressed first. You need to not look to the familiarity as a source of recovery, but look to the source as a sense of understanding progress. If you talk to them and it just goes back to hurting, it's not necessarily that the relationship should come back. If you talk to them and there's no compromise and there's no shift in intention, if there's no change in behavior, it's not healing. And if neither of you have taken the sword out so that that hurt that caused it can be addressed, there's no healing, there's no moving forward. When you pull that sword out, it hurts like hell. You take a knife out of a wound, it starts to bleed even heavier. And so be ready for that when the time comes. You guys are going to end up probably talking with the sword's energy being there. And are you going to use that time to retreat into familiar things? Or are you going to use that time to address existing wounds? That's the choice you need to make here, Malika. Use the moment appropriately for what's going to serve you the most what's going to provide you the healthiest outcome overall. Good luck, Malika. Carolyn, Smart Triumph. Let's get you a card next. And then it is open list after that. No worries. Take care, Malika. Carolyn, Smart Triumph. Okay. Tough combo, Carolyn. I'm bottom end is the Seven of Cups, which if you're going to get the Seven of Cups, let's make sure it's on the bottom in the subject matter, not in the actual events, because the Seven of Cups is one of those few cards that I will put a specific term on, and the specific term I usually end up on it is cheating, lying, deception, misleading, someone trying to pull the wool over somebody else's eyes and keep them out of touch of what the real truth is. And on the surface, that's awful, but at least if it's an environment, at least it's something that you got to deal with as an obstacle, and not necessarily that it's an active malicious force, but that the truth isn't necessarily been seen yet. However, I think you have seen it, because the top card, the Eight of Cups, signifies the needing to use certain emotions through a moment. Something's not right. Something's unfair. Something is unbalanced. Something is uneven. There are 8 cups in front of us here, and they've been split up 5 and 3 and given to 2 different people. But 8 divides equally, 4 and 4. So why then does it have to be 5 and 3, that hand? The reason for this is whoever's getting the 5 has some need for that extra. And if we can address that extra, if we can address that need, their life, their quality steps up a little bit. It's that meme that was going around trying to look over a fence and you've got the kid, all kids on one box, one of the kids still can't see. But if you go, no box for the tallest who can see over the fence, one box for the middle so they can see over, and then 2 boxes for the shortest so they can see over, everybody can see fairly. That's why the disparity. Because somebody does genuinely have that need for that little bit of extra. But the need is what I think is invisible right now. The need is the part that hasn't been talked about honestly. The problem hasn't actually been revealed. And so it's down to a choice. If the person will come clean, communicate about it, bring it up and make a goal with you on it, then greater things can come out of this. But if they're not going to bring it up, if they're not going to reveal it, if they're not going to express it, if they're not even going to look for it, then there's nothing that you can do about it. And at that point, you have to make a choice. Do you endure somebody that would rather suffer in that way? Or do you carry on to something else and let something else inspire your day? I like it could be something really, really bad, in which case your decision will be easily made based on morals. But to me, this combination is more akin to somebody having a hip replacement at a young age and being embarrassed to talk about it, or something else that they're fearful of, but haven't necessarily done the investing into looking into what it actually is, and so they don't have a full picture for themselves. You might be able to help guide them to the full picture so they can understand what's really going on. And that would be a good way to make this tough moment and these tough feelings a blessing rather than a torture. But make sure that the truth is found, whether that be for them or just for you. Make sure that truth is found, and make sure that truth is the focus of your choices. They need the more energy. They need the extra. They need the extra cookie for some reason. Is that reason? Okay, so what trauma then is keeping him from opening up? What is the need for him to need that extra protection and that extra guarding? Because something's there. Are you willing to tolerate him taking that extra cookie and that extra time to reveal what's going on in there? Or do you just not trust that it's not a bad situation like a family wife or something else, and screw this, I'm out of here? That's part of your own personal judgment in it as well too. I I think it's trauma. I know the Seven of Cups is usually a cheater card, but I can't take it as a cheater card if it's supposed to be the environment, unless he is literally that wild with it. And so my other assumption is that a bad relationship has left a deep scar that he does not want to discuss and address. That could be a relationship, not romantic, but a family relationship, a friendship relationship, and it causes their secrecy. Their secrecy isn't meant to hurt you. It's just they're not able to open up that way until they feel comfortable enough to do so. They won't open up that way until they're comfortable enough to do so. That's sort of the rub with some secretive people. Anyway, I don't think I have any more requests right now, so I'm gonna go grab a bowl of cereal. You guys feel free to hang out or throw in requests, whatever you gotta do. I gotta eat. Oh. Oh. Hi, Christina. Hope you're having a wonderful day too. Definitely listen to it again over the YouTube bits. I like Seven of Cups has a bad reputation for being a cheater card. I don't feel like it's a cheating dynamic though. I do feel like it is holding a lot of information away from you, and that's never usually right. But definitely reflect on it. Definitely look into it. Thanks for the follow, Eva. prefer Eva or Ava? It is an open docket right now too. And this isn't going to take me much time at all, so. I'm in Mountain Standard Time right now. And so we're at 12:27 p.m. Sun is shining for the first time in almost 5 days. And I can't complain. It's a nice Thursday. That answer. Here's the thing. I love Wally, and so my automatic go-to is always Eva, and it's a sincere affection for the name. My chef Ava would not let me be so stupid with it, and so it was always Chef Ava. And I try to make sure I'm accurate where I can. I'm not a talented tongue for languages or names and accents, and so it's always tricky, right? Always tricky. Hi, Dylan Thomas. We all hold the key to unlock our dreams hidden in plain sight from within. Accurate. Manifestation is ultimately down to your perception, being able to perceive the solutions as well as perceive the potential for yourself to go through the change. If you don't believe in these things and perceive these things within yourself, you will leave yourself entirely locked where you are. Chaos. It's chaos if you find yourself to be achieving always and looking for that accomplishment always. But good chaos inspires such great change. Just gotta make sure that it's refined to something palpable to the global potential, and not just something something in the vein of Maddox.X mission trying to feed the ego of the moment. 9:30 p.m. Good night, Smart Triumph. Well done. Hey, 2 years. Well done, well done. I dropped booze back just before COVID, like 2019. I never really always had a taste for things. I never got too bad with any of the methy stuff though. And you know, you do what you do in your walks of life. It's how you get yourself out of them that really tell the tale of character. And so well done on you. Good job. Takes a clear direction to get out of forest like that. And you don't keep the trail the entire time. It comes and goes. So good job of making sure that you see yourself through. I don't think a lot of people talk about the power that comes with that collar around your neck either. Because it's not intangible. It's not something that you don't feel. It is a compulsion, a very driving force. And so if you've ever gotten through the walk of life without suffering that compulsion, bless you. Bless you. If you do understand the compulsion, you can do a good job for others by helping them through it. Make sure you're there to support one another. Kirsty, it is so happy to meet you. Let's draw you a card. Kirsty. Okay, Kirsty, so the environment that you're working with is the Five of Wands. That makes the environment one that sometimes relates to competition, growth through working with others, sometimes in more of a friction-building way. It's not meant to be competition to win over you, it's meant to be competition to improve you, to temper you, to test what you can do. And wherever this competition and pressure is coming from, it's stressing you out to a new maximum, and I am so sorry for that. You're being encouraged to be patient still. You're being encouraged to take your time and consider how this engagement with these people is actually helping you. Sometimes when we're going, say, to the gym, we go with a small group, everybody's doing all kinds of exercises, and some exercises seem to be working for others better than they seem to be working for you or for them. And understanding why the differences is sort of the key puzzle here. Absolutely not you. I'll get you in next. If you have a specific question, just write it down. If you don't, then just give me consent for a card. Kirsty, if the arms aren't changing, it's maybe not because the exercise doesn't work, but the body type doesn't work quite that same way. And so having different qualities and different bits that are going to be different than the others is sort of going to stand out in the process. On a soccer team, not everybody's a striker, not everybody's a defenseman or a midfielder. And so getting to understand where you fit in best is the key undernote on all of this. Temperance is redirected in another deck that I use into alchemy. And alchemy is that creation of yourself, a new formation of your magic and your delightful energy pattern through the mixtures that come with other people's. And so I know that this challenge that is applying against you has to be for healthy transformation for you, but you have to also make sure that you're understanding why that transformation is necessary and finding your own value in it. If you're receiving it and it's not inspiring you for better things, then that's not the purpose. If it's forcing change upon you and demanding that you become somebody else, and you don't really like that somebody else, then it's not for that either. And that's not what this energy should turn into. So make sure that it's the right flavor, make sure that it's the right mixture, make sure it's had enough time that you can decide if it is that right way or not. Don't let yourself be changed into something that you're not either. This friction isn't meant to break you. It's meant to temper you, make you feel like you do have that magic within you too. And if it's not getting in that direction, communicate and ask how it could get in that direction. And that's what'll give you the best recovery of your path along the way. Good luck out there, Kirsty. It feels transformative. Usually we get temperance right after the death card, and so what we're seeing in there is the beautiful butterfly has come out of her cocoon and she hasn't quite figured out how to fly yet. If you can key in on that flying capacity, you're going to go so far. Let yourself take flight. Not you. Any particular question or just a general card? We'll do a general card in just a second. Riri, Papa, are you... Okay. Okay. And after that, we do have an open docket. So if there is any questions, any concerns, anything else, just let me know. So, Surjan, the question comes in, does Surjan have any feelings for me? And my general interpretation on such questions is usually, what feelings does so-and-so have for the person? And the reason why I rework it a little bit in my head this way is because everybody has feelings towards everybody else. Everybody has feelings about everybody else. Unless you've really gone through the discipline of controlling your feeling and direction. Yeah, and see, you want to find those specifics. I get you. I get you. Never leave it vague with the Fae. You never know what's going to come out of there. I wouldn't call them romantic feelings necessarily. He's not 100% sure what the feelings are. He's trying to understand what exactly it is. You get the judgment card on this dynamic, and usually when judgment card comes up, somebody's trying to come to understanding of what it is that's there. And Maybe they're trying to decide if it's love or lust, whether it's romantic or just carnal. Maybe they're trying to decide if it's something that they would take the chance on or not. Maybe they're trying to decide how to let it down in such a way that doesn't cause harm and doesn't cause pain. But with judgment, they're coming to terms with whatever it is that is going on within the feelings and within the dynamics. And it's not likely they've centered down into anything particularly yet. It's hard to get to that centered point and centered balance for them right now. And so if you want the full answer, you're going to have to be patient and wait and see what they do decide in the long run. The environment being Two of Pentacles, fluctuation and change, it's really hard to tell where exactly the coin's going to fall on this one. And they may decide that something else is a better opportunity for them and go that direction instead. So I do not believe they are romantic feelings. I believe they're being far more strategic in their thinking process than that. And I am so sorry for that. Keep in view and you'll see what comes out of it. Hello, Paula. Thanks for joining the show. Melia, I've got you up next on the docket. And not you, thank you so much for the question. Be patient if you must, but I would say remember it's fluctuation, unsteady ground, not emotionally driven. Paula and Tyler currently no contact, trying to see if we will come back. I can draw a card for you on that and see what's up. Let's get Malia next. Maliha? If I'm saying it wrong, definitely correct me. Does Moke feel bad for not showing up yesterday? Let's find out about Moke. Raglan was just saying with not you. Remember, there's feelings, there's absolutely feelings. Sometimes asking what feelings, what sensation, what is somebody feeling is about looking at their picture. Does somebody feel is about do they have what I want them to have? Remember to always try to direct your questions in a way that you are an observer, not a participant. Mo may feel some amount of conflict, but he feels not showing up was in his better interests. Environment is the Two of Wands, domain, kingdom, and empire, making sure that things feel very much under his control and under his form. The card Five of Wands, under duress from other people's energy, or just recognizing that you two might not be necessarily what he's diving in on. He has opted to see it as an opportunity to learn excuse me, to learn, to grow, and to develop more than he's seeing it as an opportunity to develop with you. It's very much about his own individuality here and making sure that he feels that he's getting the quality experience out of this over top of all else. So, to answer your question, no, I don't think he feels bad at all. In fact, I think he thinks he did the right thing and the right method. He's seeing this as necessary for his growth and development, and that what comes up next, the moves next, need to be about keeping him in the right vein for where he is going to see his happiness. It's fire energy. It's passion for the self. It's passion for one personally, and making sure that their grain, their growth, their development is the best growth and development overall. Doesn't really necessarily put you up in priority. I'm so sorry about that. Paula and Tyler, you guys are going to get drawn up next. Chantel, I'll get you on the docket for sure, for sure. And we'll keep going from there. Paula and Tyler, currently no contact. What's going to happen with that energy form? This, it's a neat mix of energies because the environment is coming up Knight of Wands for you, Paula. And that's usually a desire, a want, chasing things, going after things. But there's a tone with the surface card, the Eight of Pentacles, about slow and careful and meticulous focus, needing to do things for a very particular purpose, a very particular method, a very, very accurate, precise execution. Gives me a worry that like the whole situation is happening for a reason, and that reason has not necessarily gone through the process entirely yet for the returning of things and the reuniting of things. The Knight of Wands is, yes, chasing after desires, but it's also chasing after personal truth. If I try and feel that one way or the other, I feel like I'm going wrong, and so I feel it's both of you. Both of you are on that personal quest, personal journey, and personal development right now, and it needs to be a focus on your personal method more than anything else, and not getting distracted in the wrong energy or in the wrong format that pulls you into somebody else's flow. Everybody has gravity. Everybody has gravity, and everybody has pull, and everybody has push. And recognizing the formation of that gravity as an effect on all of your relationships is really, really important to maintaining a good, strong, healthy crowd and flow of yourself. Now, some gravities we get stuck on and we have a hard time extracting ourselves out of and escaping out of. A lot of people like to call these ones the special ones, the twin flames and soulmates and things like that. And I will not let you have just one soulmate. I don't buy into that. So twin flames is a concept I don't trust that. But I do trust the idea of soul pods, a soul collective, a larger community with it. And after you have both come to your best self, because you're in a soul pod, you may see then that event of pulling back into each other's gravity. But if the personal progress isn't done first, if the particulars are not in place, then it can't come to pass because you guys are going to do more damage to each other than good. It needs to be about having that new formation of each other first and foremost, and then the better things, the stronger things, the more prolonged things could potentially come up from them as a result afterwards. Get your direction that way as best as you can, Paula. Personal development, personal growth. And when they do show up, then you've got those stories to share in excitement, lifting up what you've done and the accomplishments there. That's the best way to impress at this time, is to reveal just how well you've grown without them. Good luck, Paula. I think you were the last question I had come in. No, Chantel. Yes, Chantel, you're next up on the docket. And then we are open to questions after that. If you haven't gotten a card yet, feel free to throw one in and we'll get you a card drawn. Chantel. Drawing a card for Chantel. Quite the double pair for you, Chantel. The environment is the Wheel of Fate. Wheel of Fate, seeing things change, seeing things move. My big thing with it is put yourself where you want to be. If you want to be a cook, go work in a kitchen. If you want to be a dancer, go join a dance studio, whatever style that you want it to be in. If you want to be a business person, go associate with business people, right? We position ourselves and associate with who we want, and that brings about the life that we want. The top card here is the Sun. New beginnings, new starts, new opportunities for change, new life. If you want a child, you have unprotected sex. If you don't want a child, you have protected sex. Things like that are really kind of rampant in the combination of the cards here. New beginnings are available, and there's a change in your life and a change in everything available to you just around the corner. But if you don't take control of it, it may lead you wherever it decides it wants to lead you, and you may be stuck along with that without any choice, without any option. That's not the way that we want to live life. We want to live life under our own control and under our own guidance. And so make sure that you're not letting yourself just be dictated to how things are going to be. You direct the energy of transformation, you direct the energy of growth, and you bring from that your results that you are most looking for. It's evolution, but you dictate where the genes are expanding, you dictate where the change is going to happen. Puts a lot of power on you. Love it. And see, that's an excellent energy with the sun because that's a healer energy combining in with new life and new discovery. I like that a lot. Remember, it is a hard, hard gig. I feel really bad for city ambulance drivers. I find a lot of them get crapped on a lot more than they should be. Paramedics working on emergency services, oil field sites, other places where the demand is not so public, sometimes find themselves in a better financial way, but maybe not emotionally satisfied. And so balances like that are good to think of here as well too. But you're going to get that certificate. You're going to get the work. You're going to get in the environment. What are you going to do with it afterwards? Where are you going to position yourself to make sure that you're living the lifestyle that keeps you within the work in a positive way and doesn't drain you out, make you feel robbed of the joy that you had going into it? I'm going to go for my first responder tickets in Canada here at some point in the next year or two. And my whole reason for wanting it is so that I can be there for the emergency to the fullest potential. I don't think I'd ever work as a city paramedic. But in an emergency, in a crisis, in a pinch, when the city burns down in a riot next week because the Oilers win, those are the things I want to be ready for. Good luck with that one. Congratulations on going and getting your ticket. It is wonderful to see another person doing the healing work in the world. And that's, Chantel, that is a super big blessing for the entire world. You are the blessing. Thank you for what you're offering us. It really, really is. Like the work itself is so much, right? You are the fairy person of death. And if you're doing it well, they don't get to get off your raft into the afterlife. They get to get off into a hospital. But if you don't do it well, then you're taking a lot of people on a ferry ride. And that can be really jarring for some people. A lot of people have a squeamish nature when it comes to blood, pain, and suffering. And so washing out an ambulance after a bad run is also a little bit jarring. Brace yourself for the best and brace yourself for the worst. If you ever need somewhere to vent and stress relief at, I am happy to support that any way that I can. And if it does ever get to be overwhelming, we will definitely make sure that there's proper supports and care for you, because those that are spending their time rescuing the world should not be left alone to suffer alone, period. So I've got you back 100% if there's anything that you need. We got you. Good job. Honestly, big blessings, huge blessings. Having anybody willing to be in that service, when you change your direction of life to be in service to the community, that's when you're getting the closest to understanding that your life is a gift to the next generations. So, blessed are those who will put themselves forward to be a blessing to the next generation. You guys kick ass in one of the hardest ways. Much appreciation always. I do believe it is open deck right now. I'm just going to go sneak a peek and check on my kitty cats because, well, I get anxious when I leave the door open too long, and also it gives me ways to sneak away for a quick drag, so small things. Hi, Merle. Hi, Sheila. And let's just go check for the other one. Oh, too many cats. No, honestly, I don't mean that. I love my cats. I don't ever want to have less than 3 cats. And my cats can live forever. I'll be okay with that. But always anxious about my cats. It just never goes away. So we're sitting here with an open docket. If you haven't gotten a card before, feel free to give me permission, and I'll happily throw you down a card right now. The idea around Tarot Thursday was always to make sure that spiritual services are accessible to people at all times in life. In my professional circuit, I've seen businesses charge $300 or $400 for literally 30 minutes of service, and I can't really stand by that. Professionally, I find that to be straight in line with what we would expect of scammers, and I can't see how you're going to get. You might get super good entertainment that you just blew $400 in 30 minutes, but I can't see how you're going to get good connection and good advice. And at the core of it, tarot is advice. Tarot is connecting with people's lives. And so if you do find that you're working with readers that like to dictate how your life's going to be and control your decisions through it, I am so sorry about those readers. Not all readers are going to treat you that way though. Some are more inclined in helping you understand who you are, more than they want to just tell you how to live your life. And if you can focus in on good readers that give you that guidance and direction to empower you, that's when it usually works the best overall. Anna, looking for a card today. Absolutely, let's get you in here. Interesting combo. The environment is the Emperor, which is usually recognizing where we're leaving long lineage, long echo, long sense of success, and long sense of victory. Sufficient accomplishment, feeling fulfilled, feeling, yeah, I did all right, everything's okay, I'm good here now, guys, thank you, thank you. It's that vibe of, just being in the wealth of it, right? And so it's a very, very strong message towards seeing where your satisfaction comes from and making sure that you're directing all of your energy towards it. Sometimes we can get distracted by the little things that are going on in and around our universe. This stupid thing happens over here and it frustrates us enough that we start to get pissed off and work in the wrong way over here. And it becomes a loss of our own balance and loss of our own order, and unable to push forward the way that we want to. But all of us have that power of willpower, and all of us have that ability to say, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to claim, this is what I'm going to take, this is what I'm going to pursue. When we make our energy right and pursue those things that satisfy us, that's when life becomes very emotionally complete, because we're not wasting time on ventures that don't mean anything to us anymore. We're doing what satisfies the heart. A person that loves to work with metal might have an interesting time doing a wood carving class, but at the core of it, they're a metal worker, not a woodworker. And they have to keep themselves on that right path and on that right course and in that right direction. It may be easy to get frustrated at work because something at home isn't in order. But work and home are two completely different universes. Work and home are two completely different universes, and you can take that and play with that however you want. If you decide to take that and play that in a bad way, that's not on me, that's your own personal choice, because it is still the same person traveling from universe to universe. But they are two different universes. What is affecting one may or may not affect the other. And if you can make it so that they don't affect one another, that I find to be a really good harmonic balance. If you're like me and some of my old friends when we were younger, being sleazy with that, that's all on you. I take no responsibility for a person's choice of how they decide to use the power. The point is that you have the power. You have that capacity, you have that form, that order, and that ability to apply your force against the things that you want. So in directing that willpower, direct it towards what satisfies you. Direct it towards what gives you completion, fullness, happiness, and all those good bits. That's where the best will come. Hi, Myrtle. Thanks for coming on in today. I see a few people wandering in and out. I'm just gonna dip this way. Now I've gotten a J. So we've had a J, a K, a P, an M, and an R? An R. 5 of the letters have shown up now. I think that's just going to be my everyday game. See when I can actually collect all the letters. I'm Pokemon hunting, but not for Pokemon. And there's a Sarah Chen hanging out. Thanks so much for coming in. Piploy. Hi, Piploy. Never had a tarot card before? They're a lot of fun, I promise. Akira Sadie. Dun, 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 dun. Oh. A little bit slower now in the later part of the 12 o'clock hour. It's because everybody that was on lunch is heading on back into work, because work kicks back in probably 3 minutes. So we'll probably see the next rush in about 5-10 minutes. I'm going to take a quick break. I'm not going to pause it or anything, but I'm just going to scooch over to the little boy's room. If anybody does want to put down a card request, it's been lurking for a little bit, you're more than welcome to it now. And I will start in whatever requests I've got on screen when I roll back in. Oh, take care, Christina. Hope the kids had a good day at school. Edumacations. Kids stay in school. Not that I didn't graduate high school, but I definitely flailed out of college pretty badly. I tried, you know. Secondary education was a wonderful idea. It was a wonderful hope. It was a wonderful dream. But when it came to actually being committed and steadfast to the development of it, I didn't quite have it at that age. It wasn't until I got older that I got actually more committed to doing things and following things through. Little ways you get caught in your own life. So we've got a few people hanging out here now. Thanks so much for popping on in. That'd be like Rebel Cowgirl, Dragon Movie, P. Fagan, Sarah Chen, and Eva. Eva. Still hanging out. Thanks so much for the company. Always appreciate when people are happy to stick in for the show. Where'd you come from? Where did you go? Where'd you come from, Pagan Eye Joe? Sorry, you got it before I got to say it. Damn. Oh well. Pagan Eye Joe might be my next weird song to try and slap together. And thank you again to TikTok for letting me have access to TikTok Live Studio. It's a huge plus to be able to hang out, do this in such a fancy little machine too. Thank you, Eva. Before I leave in a couple of weeks here, I'm going to be doing up a few. I want to do a proper guided meditation, but I'm having super anxiety about what all to write into it and how all to guide it. So I'll get it figured out at some point down the way. But I've got a bunch of children's books here that I was going to just do long readings of. And then I'll have that up on YouTube or something, because I hear this a few times. People do seem to like the voice the most. And so if I can set that up for you guys and have it available, I will try to make that happen sooner than later. It's we all draw strength and we all draw goodness from different things. And it's nice when those things that we draw strength and goodness from can be easily accessible. Hi, Rachel. Thanks for popping on by. Harleen, Jarina. Love some of the names that we catch on here too. Like, names are such a neat construct. I stole Lopic from a friend, more accurately a friend's older brother. He used the 5 letters coming out in the top right of a keyboard to make his name, Flocky. And I went and reorganized the letters and went with Lopic. I found out later on after the fact that Lopic's actually a city in the Netherlands. Who knew, right? Here I'm trying to steal an entire city's identity from them, but it's worked out to being a really good common moniker. There's a lot of people I used to hang out with on the internet now 25 years ago, and I was using Lopic back then as well too. It's really interesting when somebody does manage to come back around from a long time ago. But I think it's more of a shock to them than it is to me. Familiarity is important in the world. Being able to recognize things for what they are is important. And we all have a certain amount of familiarity with names, with identities. The name and the moniker, it gives us a sense of connection in an intangible way because our perspective has shaped expectations, desires, and the wants to give or take from something based upon its identity. I think this is why flags become such an important thing to people as well too, because it helps them to establish their identity in a way that's very clearly seen, clearly defined, and they can give and take the strength that they need from that object. Can't be so held up to your flag, though, to think that your flag's the only one that should fly. At the end of the day, as long as all flags represent uh, an opportunity for all people, then they can be true flags. But any club, any organization that chooses to try and be exclusive will tend to find itself fading into obscurity because the exclusive things fail. They can't regenerate the same way that the rest of the world systems do. Um, Royals back in the day used to try and keep their bloodline exclusive by marrying brothers and sisters and cousins, and we saw how that worked out in the long run in a lot of different monarchies. It just doesn't play in, it doesn't function. And so anything that tries to be completely exclusive is more often than not going to find that it breeds itself out of existence, out of being, and out of form. That's why the inclusiveness that I think comes with spirituality, when it's harnessed properly, when it's done properly, that is. So let's be honest, a lot of times spirituality just turns into big cults. The attitude of wanting to be the most magical, the most mystical, the most seen. I have to go let somebody into the building. I'll be right back, everybody. Oof. Okay, we're back. Hi, Rhiannon. Hello, Jayla. And they're gone. Maybe I should stop greeting people. Greet them at the door and invite them in, and they just end up disappearing. Well, there you are. Hi, Jayla. So again, totally open on board right now, so if anybody wants to request a card, now is definitely the time. Otherwise, it's just going to be random nonsense and chaos. No, you can just ask for general energies as well too. That is always an option as well. Doesn't always have to be focused, right? And that's like you were just reading patterns, right? There's always a pattern of energy going on around you. The big thing is that I just like to make sure we get consent. Congratulations, you found a reader that will actually read pregnant women. We could definitely talk into it. Are you looking for a private reading though? Or are you looking for a card here and now? Jayla, let's get you a general energy card. Oh, this is a fun combo. So the environment is the star. What we're seeing, okay, yeah, I'll add you onto the list too then, I'm that. So environment for Jayla, star, direction, guidance, course, making sure that you're on the right path, moving through the right constellations to the right destinations, getting yourself in that right sense of course. But the action card here is the Lovers. And the Lovers is always a tricky one when we're trying to decide what's the right thing to do. Because sometimes both choices are right. The Lovers, it is about choice. It is about making a decision upon one path or another, one direction or another, one job or another, and it's not always necessarily visibly seen between two parties. Sometimes it's seen more in, how should we describe it? Do I change myself to try and inspire more of these experiences, or do I change myself to attract more of this attention, or do I stick with being true to my form and true to my effort? And that's the tricky bits with it. With the Lovers usually comes a change in the identity, a change in the self, or an acknowledging of a personal truth. And that's the beast underneath it all. The desires, the wants, the cravings, they have to be respected to a certain point. Allowing yourself to run completely wild, not respecting free will, consent, or communication is not appropriate. But knowing yourself well enough to speak to your needs so that you can express them properly and appropriately is. Because when communication happens, that's when the star starts to become part of the guiding steps towards next destination, towards the next course. So face the challenge, be honest with yourself about what you're really, really looking for right now, and allow yourself the change that's going to empower you into the best form of what you want to be, the most genuine form. Genuine form is always the healthiest to reach for, and I would direct myself to that every chance and every opportunity that I get. If the desire is taking you away from being what you perceive yourself to be, then it's not worth it, because it's robbing you of that identity of yourself that you're used to. And there should never be a surrender of yourself just because. If you can validate the reason behind it, people can make choices for any reason. But doing it just on a whim or on somebody else's demand, I can't stand by that at all. Good luck. Have fun with that one. We'll move on to I'm That next. Thanks for the roses, by the way. Pregnancies are fun. A lot of readers won't read pregnant women just because the energies around a pregnant woman is usually a little bit more intense. You've got two bodies or two souls inhabiting one general area, And I'll tell you, it's definitely worth the headache. And there is some debate to how well it works and how well it doesn't. But let's see what we can do for you here. Okay. You left it in the subject matter of pregnancy. Doesn't necessarily tell me whether you are or aren't right now, but the environment centers on the Emperor, and the top card is being the Three of Cups for celebration, rejoicing, and accomplishment. If I was being asked, am I pregnant right now? I would generally probably say yes with this combination, or at least moving into being pregnant in the next 3 months. Three coming specifically from the Three of Cups. If not pregnant right now, 3 months would be my bet. Because you're trying and because you're putting the effort in, presumably. If pregnant right now, if confirming whether you're pregnant right now, because you've already got the suspicion, done the P-test and everything else, then yeah, I'll probably lean in with it. The question of the Emperor, though, the father, the energy that comes up there is somewhat of a concern. Because is that they are in the know of what's going on in the transformation that's hand, and if so, how do we invite them into that celebration and that rejoicing in a way that they're comfortable with? That is supposed to be celebration, though. It is supposed to be a sense of satisfaction. Three of Cups is, holy crap, we did it, and now we can come together and acknowledge that we have this shared moment and the shared comfort with what has been presented here in the now. So that's my take on it. My final bet would be that yes, you're in the early stages of a pregnancy within the 3 month mark. And it's just a matter of communicating it and working it out with all parties, all peoples, and all energies and flows at this point so that everybody can come together and celebrate new life and new opportunities. Emperor card 2 is usually specifically children, so it's there, and all the warning signs or all the indicators, if you want to call them that instead, are there. Congratulations. Good luck. Have fun with that one. Definitely changes the nature of the world as a result. Oh no. Sarah S., we will absolutely get you a card next. Here's the long and the short of it, and please don't stress on any of these things. Pregnancy is a really, really tough venture. A lot of pregnancies, first-time pregnancies, sometimes fail out for no reason that we can necessarily get a finger on, and it's a tragic element that a lot of people don't discuss. In other cases, the first 3 months are very, you got to tiptoe through them a little bit. And so testing after missing a period or a month after missing a period is what I usually recommend. If an at-home test comes back positive and you can book in a doctor's appointment, that is your next best step. If it is less than 3 months, you talk about it with people that are most important, but you try to avoid public announcements until after 3 months. That way, if something does unfortunately expire, then it's only you and the close people that have to deal with it, and you've got the support there a little bit more closer to home. Good luck. Hi, Diana. Welcome to the show. Sarah S., we're going to get you your card next. No worries, I'm not. If you need more support, I am sure that there are women in your life that will be able to help out. If not, I will do my best where I can, but like obviously my advice comes from a different perspective, and so there's only so much that I can kind of pump out there. Sarah S. Okay. Neat combo. Environment is the Queen of Cups. It's usually an emotionally reserved woman, capable emotions, deep emotions, but she is wise enough to realize that there needs to be a lid on top of the cup, that you can't just allow any energy to kind of come in. You can't just allow anybody to pour into your cup. You have to be somewhat restrictive with it. And so reserved, not in that she doesn't have capacity, but reserved in that she's very picky on who gets access to her capacity. It's usually a sign of deep emotional feeling, growth, opportunity, maybe family related, maybe romantic related, maybe just a really tight friendship circle. But within that circle, There is either yourself or another individual who's acting somewhat like a confused newcomer to life. They're throwing out ideas or trying to accomplish things that are much bigger than them. And there is potential for what they're trying to put themselves into, but with such a small person, really big sword that even goes off of the image that we're given, it's unwieldy for them to try and do what they're trying to do right now. They need the help, they need the support, but more of all, they need the communication and the input that helps them to understand what they're doing better. A lot of people like to grab a sword and they put their hands really close together because they feel like that gives them power. But if your hilt is long enough, you have one hand down on the end of the hilt, one hand at the top near the guard. That difference of space gives you more swinging power than just two hands next to each other side by side. But if you've never swung a sword, especially a large sword like that, you may not be aware of this information. Getting it from the right input sources helps. But advice sometimes coming from an emotional connection is hard to hear. See how best it can be packaged, delivered in a way that it is acceptable, that it is understood. It can't be like Queen of Cups, it's not condescending, it's not scalding people. A lot of people like to aspire the Queen of Cups to a Cancer woman, and I don't like that because Cancer women are inherently snappy, and the Queen of Cups is not snappy. It's about understanding a person's volatility, and because the lid's on there, you don't get affected by it. And so it has to be in that maturity, respects, loving understanding as much as possible. Good opportunity for growth, good opportunity for new understandings and enhancement if the person comes through this. I have a weird feeling it may not just be one person, but more the dynamic within either the relationship, the family, or the friend group, and just needing to rediscover new ways to communicate, work with one another, and express to one another so that better things can come out of it as a result. Actually, it's Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups can sometimes reference certain workplaces as well too, especially if that workplace centers on care for people or empowerment of people in some fashion or healing of people. And so if that's one of the workplaces that you're attached to, that may be the dynamic as well too. Sorry, just one second. I've been told as long as I don't do it on camera, right? As long as it's not on camera, allegedly. And so even with my vape, I'll just go like this. And I'll come back sometimes and the smoke will be coming out my nose. Glad it works, Sarah S. A lot of people mistake the Queen of Cups for being emotional bounty, the wife, and everything else to that. And if you just recognize the nature of it being controlled emotions, it helps to sometimes shape the understanding of how it applies environment-wise. Because the emotions aren't absent from it, they're somewhat the cornerstone of it, and that's where it gets tricky. If you step on the emotions, it's like stepping on a live wire and nobody's happy after the fact. And we don't want that because then people aren't going to listen anymore either.
Here comes the cat.
My cat's been chewing the corner of a plastic thing that was supposed to be an important art piece. I'm in trouble. Anyway, thanks for asking for the question, Sarah. Much appreciate you popping on in. And if there's any follow-up you need on it, I always do offer follow-up after the fact for Tarot Thursdays. If you want to listen again, it'll be on YouTube once we get done today. I think we're at an open docket right now, if there is anybody that's interested. Thank you, Sarah, for coming up and joining us. So we've got 3 cats. Is there someone hiding back there? No, okay. They're just running around somewhere else. I have 3 cats. The eldest cat is named Archon Ezekiel is the proper name. Everybody calls her Ghost because nobody wants to say 6 syllables for one cat. Then we have Shiva, Shiva the diva cat. She's so pretty. She's all that. And then our youngest here is a feller named Merlin. I think we should have named him Rambunctious Son of a Bitch, but you know, Merlin works for now. Pecker Nut, I like that. That's a good one. The Ghost is 13 this year. It's 2024. Yeah, so she'd be 13 this year. Um, Longest committed relationship of my life, I think. Even with my parents. Just kind of hilarious. Shouldn't say it that way, but you know, it feels that way. It feels that way, you know. Who's had the power of value on you for the longest?
Me.
Okay, you might be coming up to the longest human, but you know, different dynamics. Meet the personalities that you get with cats too. Like, managed to get Merlin to be a good little snuggle buggy. And I do like cats that snuggle a lot. Ghost is a little bit more standoffish. She likes you because she's attached to you now.
Snuggles.
She does.
She was
Shiva loves me every morning. I get such good cuddles with Shiva in the morning
well,
and at night. It's hilarious.
I get tail.
Hi, Nina. Absolutely, we can get you a card pull. More than happy to. Dee Dee the cat. The nice thing about cats is they never really do leave. But we'll talk about shadow pets after this. Nina requesting a card. Nina, what I've got for you is the Three of Wands for the environment. I always take the Three of Wands as a positive environment, right? Because it's long journey, it's long passage, it's long transformation. You're coming from somewhere. And wherever you're coming from, you left it for a reason. It's behind you for a reason. And being on this journey here and now is really kind of the big story at hand. There is a destination. There's somewhere that you know you will be arriving at. But until then, you've got everything around you to take in, absorb, and realize. And that's where the real learning happens. It's not about the beginning, it's not about the end, it's about all the content in between that makes the story really rich. The story has a portion that for most people isn't necessarily comfortable. The Six of Swords is, it's the refugee card. It's the energy of departing a place where problems, pain, and suffering occurred and allowing yourself to move on to the next destination in the next form. So the combination is somewhat of a tragic one because it creates an environment where you're just trying to get on the journey, but to get on the journey you have to accept yourself as no longer part of where you came from. In refugee status, it's the home country has been obliterated and it doesn't exist anymore, and so you are now off doing your own bit. And okay, breakup's an easy one. Breakup's an easy one. You were their partner, you were their other half, you were that bit in that relationship, and now that it's gone, who the f are you, right? And this is a problem a lot of people suffer after breakups is they have a hard time getting back to that sense of identity and sense of self again. They have a hard time getting a sense of who they want to be. Truthfully, identity is somewhat of a fluid thing on all levels. And so you can design for yourself the identity that you want in theory, and then by modeling those behaviors, you take it from a theory and make it your practice. I like this approach with most things in life. Who am I is the perfect example in my head in constant shortcoming. I can never be perfect, but if I have a perfect idea of who I want to be, I can always try to be perfect. And in that way, everybody is perfectly themselves. Consider, what is it that you want to bring into the world? What is it that you want to share of yourself? What is it that you want to take for yourself? And without referencing the partner you came from, make that 3 to 5 year plan for yourself. If a goal goes on there because it was something they wanted, but you don't leave it on the list. You take it off right away. You can start to pick out which things are remnants of them and which things aren't. and you can start to move forward a little bit more freely. Energy is an important thing to acknowledge as well too. If you're holding on to a lot of their old clothes, a lot of their old possessions, sometimes it's nice to get rid of those, or at the very least put them in a lockbox. Put them out of sight, get them out of mind, remove that which brings back the old energy and the old flow. The Six of Swords, they're not alone, they're with other people. How those other people help you out is personal choice. Rebound effect is a real thing though. And so make sure that you're taking an appropriate amount of time to not be rushing into things or dragging yourself through experiences that you might not necessarily want to experience. Or maybe you do, and that's exactly the excitement that you need. But it has to be conscious and aware choosing. No just going by the seat of your pants and by the ache of the heart, as much as possible. Sorry about the breakup. Remember, it's the nature of life is that we're just trying to do our best. Hopefully, we're just trying to do our best. And as long as we're committed to that demonstration, every day can be a better day. With better people, better energies, better flows, better opportunity all around. Good luck on your travel, Nina. It's unfortunate too when we have high expectations with something and then it kind of falls through. And that's in any level of partnership. Like working with certain friends, sometimes we discover that our expectations exceeded what they could actually deliver upon. And is it really them to blame for not meeting our expectations, or is it us for having high expectations? You could go the other swing with it. I tried that for a while, no expectations whatsoever, and they're right. It does alleviate all sense of disappointment when your expectations aren't met because you had no expectations to begin with. But it doesn't make for a very active living. You become very complacent with achieving nothing because nothing is now your expectation. And accomplishing enough of a sense of this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I expect in my life, without making it unmeetable by others and too little to actually satisfy and feed you. That's the life balance. That's the magic line. Not everybody figures that out. Most of us don't figure that out in a lifetime. It's really hard to. But trial and error, mistakes and corrections, they all get us through it. Find the route in between all needs and wants that fits well. Walking softly, carrying a big stick, and you get yourselves through life fairly easily. It is an open board right now, so Gabriella, if you'd like a card, thanks so much for joining us. You're more than welcome to call out for one. Craig Jones. I like that name, Craig Jones. It's like Bob Dole, you know? Craig Jones, here to do Craig Jones things. You get some names that are just strong. Mine ends up being more of a eloquent soliloquy, which, go figure, I wax poetically more often than I actually make sense. See? So much comes from a name. You really do try to class it up with that middle name of yours, though. These ones were a gift. Scaries ordered me a set off of Temu, and she had heard me complaining. Well, not complaining. I was commenting on the Rider-Waite being the most understandable tarot deck for most people because it's the most commonly seen. Galaxy Tarot phone app, love it for learning cards. It's always the Rider-Waite, and she got me Rider-Waite, but they've got this lovely little reflective thing are going on here. Just so pretty and so good and so wonderful. It's also a gifted deck, and I won't say that you have to get your decks gifted, but I will admit that the decks that are gifted, they're usually superior than the decks that are not gifted. And I don't mean to shoot at anybody that uses a bot deck. This is not meant to trash any other readers. If I want to trash other readers, I'd go on a rant about how you don't pay until after your reading, but that's another day argument too. A deck that is gifted has that essence carried along with it, that the messages and the contents therein, they're meant to be an offering over to somebody else. And this is one of the core understandings of spiritual interaction. We are living a physical existence as a gift from spirituality, and so our physical existence is a story that we then take back to the spirit world and expand the spirit's understanding into greater whole. It's all part of the exchange and the circulation of it. And so when you get a tarot deck that's gifted in that manner, you get gifted the honor of offering that experience that is so natural to the universe. It creates a really pretty energy ribbon and connects it to a really powerful pattern that 9 times out of 10 plays out better. I love my pretty ladies. For example, my pretty lady cards I bought for myself many, many years ago. They do the job amazingly, and they're great for the love readings. But if somebody really wants to get to the bottom of what's going on in their romantic relationship, I used my Heart of the Fairies, which was a gifted one. And I warn people before the Heart of the Fairies, this deck can be a little bit of an asshole, a little bit of a jerk, a little bit pushy, in making sure that you understand that you were an idiot and you screwed this up, and here's how. It's a way more potent. And I don't get that on a deck that I've bought. So gift your decks. Gift exchanges. I've seen some witch covens actually hold a once-a-year event where you just show up and it's Tarot Christmas is way better than the term I was going to use. I was going to use Key Party for decks, but it just helps you to kind of find some new friend. And they are more of a friend than anything else. This one, when it came in, it was pre-shuffled. I am suspicious of decks that are pre-shuffled, and so first, before doing anything with it, I did a cleansing, and that was on video. If you've never seen a cleansing before, that's a good way to do it with an incense stick. It's on the YouTube now. But after that, like, no weird vibes with it. It talks sassy, but it's not cruel in its sassiness, and it's to the point. And I always appreciate a deck that's to the point. And like, come on, this death card, just look at that shimmer. Look at that shimmer. I feel like the Mighty Boosh character playing with the shiny disco balls. Look at them shine. Look at them shine. Such a pigeon at heart. Or that be more of a pig, a magpie. Anyway, that's my ramble. Where are we at on all things? Well, it's been almost 2 hours, so we've hit the time bit. Hello, Miss Ashley. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. I'll show you a pretty lady. Hit me up sometimes if you ever. My love readings are usually a pretty lady per person involved in the romance, and then it follows up from that with 5 or 6 cards per person to kind of figure out what they're supposed to be doing. We're going to draw you just a pretty lady card here, and it's the Lantern Fairy. Lantern Fairy is about clear choices, clear solutions, clear options, and when you get right down to the center muck of it, there's an obvious truth that's available in that relationship. They like to play with knives and throw them at your body and cut them into your skin, and you don't like being cut with knives. And so obviously the relationship doesn't work. You have to walk away from it. And it's nice when these things are clear and on the surface, but the walking away from it is the hardest part, because you have to be the one to acknowledge that it bothers you. There might be somebody else that doesn't mind that taste or flavor of relationship. But for you, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You may have asked already for them to stop that behavior or stop that practice, or maybe to just come around and try something differently. But for them, different isn't really what they want. They're not looking for change. They're not looking for other ways. They're looking to just be this way. You can't affect the way that somebody wants to be if they're truly resolved to it. People have to want change to actually change. And if they're not actually going to invest themselves into that change, don't force them. Doing so is only going to do more harm to them and to yourself, and it creates this resentment that comes out of it. But you shouldn't either stay and stand somewhere that you're not appreciated. And that's the part that I think most people get caught up on when it's obviously time to go. If you stay, it's personal choice to stay. And if you suffer because you chose to stay, that's personal choice to suffer. And yes, it is somebody else's actions that are making you suffer, but their actions are an expression of themselves in their space and time. It's not that it's one thing to put a knife against somebody's throat and insist on a behavior. It's another thing entirely to say, I just want to carve my name on your arm so that you can look and see me everywhere you are. Which way do you really want to experience the life? And if it is the knife itself that is really causing the problem, not the direction of intention with the knife, you move it the way that's healthiest for you, and that's usually removing yourself out of it. Personal control, personal accountability, personal safety. We can only accept the flavors that we're built for. We can't accept things that are outside of what is considered appropriate to us that way. So the solution's clear. You know what you need to know. You've seen it enough that you understand it for what it is. It's now ultimately down to you to decide, will you use this light of understanding and get yourself to different grounds and different places and different environments? Or will you accept that it's you that has to tolerate and compromise and embrace this behavior? If the behavior truly isn't suited for you, it's not suited for you, and there's no harm or foul in walking away either. Leaving a situation that you're not meant for is there's no crime in that. And I think a lot of people feel that love has to be, you got to tolerate anything in order to be in love. There are some things that just aren't meant for all people. Allowing yourself to respect that is more of a tolerance and compassion, because now you're also allowing it to be yourself that survives and not just this other energy in this other form. Don't trap yourself to things that aren't meant for you. Good luck, Jayla. Honestly, big choices, you just got to resolve into them. Pick what fits. Go with it from there. Oh, do we want to try and push to the 2 o'clock rush? I don't know. It's hitting another one of those beautiful lulls here, though. And so, choices and decisions. Hi. She's getting her rave gear all set up for festival season. Scaries is an ambassador this year, and so she's got a rolling shade cart going on.
Bedazzle the golf.
The dazzle the golf bag is exactly what happened here, and it's pretty cool. I don't know if any of y'all in here are festival goers. It's our next one is Shambhala in BC, Canada, and they're having a pre-party event last weekend of this month. We're going out working that. And then I get to stay for the month, and she comes back. And the main Shambhala event, I believe, is 21st, 20, no, after that, 26, 27, 28, 29, 25th, 26th, 27th, somewhere in the last week of July. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I love Shambhala. I love the farm. I love the sun. I love having two mountains on both sides. We're based out of Edmonton right now, and Edmonton is all flat and wild. In my hometown that I spent most of my developmental years in, I have a mountain here, I have a mountain here. They narrow into a pass there, and there's another mountain on top of it way off in the distance. Look behind you, and what do you know? It's another mountain way off in the distance. So there's nowhere you can look and see that pretty flat horizon. Horizon's broken everywhere. It's wonderful. It's like living in a giant's mouth. You're just waiting for it to close its mouth and eat you and swallow you and take you in whole. Same vibe down there on the farm. It's nice tall mountain both sides, nice tall hills both sides, and a few mountains in the background. And it's beautiful, beautiful sunshine when it comes up over that mountain ridge. It burns you alive for 12 hours, and then it goes over the other side and it starts to plunge down into these freezing nights that are just delightful. Once the music starts playing, the bugs can't fly, so got no issues there whatsoever. People tend to be plur-minded. It was a bit weird how they were recovering Shambhala after COVID. They'd sold some tickets for a year there and had to incorporate those tickets into their remaining years, and may have made it more crowded for the last few years. This is the last year for those tickets, and it's either going to be the absolute worst for crowdedness, or it might be the absolute best. We'll see. We'll see. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I pray. If I have to make a totem that says 2-meter bubble of space, I will.
We won Canada's Festival of the Year. We won that.
I saw that. Yeah. Oh no, we're number one. We're absolutely number one. Love it. So yeah, out by Salmo in BC, Canada. Yeah, tickets are available on Camp Mudsharks. Shambhala Ticket Exchange.
We won't be getting tickets this year.
People keep posting saying they're still selling.
Trust nobody.
No, trust nobody but Camp Mudshark. And that's the other side of it too, is you build communities within communities like this. For about a week, it is a city of 15,000 people with its own, sorry, 25,000 people with its own law enforcement, its own medical center, its own food center. It's literally a small run operation. Like, I am so bewildered by the system that creates it. And that's where I derive my most joy from it, is understanding the system of it. That's why I like tarot so much, because it's a system. A moves into B, it all slides along to create the momentum of C, D, and E. And when you start to understand those patterns of momentum through things, you start to understand the essence of the thing itself. Getting to know Shambhala was easy on the surface. Getting to know the system, it's insane. I can't puzzle it out. And I do love puzzling things out, and the challenge, therefore, of figuring it out. So every year I'm trying to get back there. This is my biggest year yet. It has been a good progression up to this point, and I can't complain. One little bit. Feels like coming home. I need you to allow access. I need you to allow access. That's why it was glitching out earlier. Well, we'll see if that helps the feed.
This person pointed to something really important that
I'm going to see if I can find a way to share the live through this, because I can't share the live from my actual screen here, because it's Ashley's computer. Puts me in a weird spot, right? Live studio, monitor live. I'm just curious, will you let me? Yes, you will. Now, will you let me share this? Nope, you're just letting me do a monitoring. New tools and everything else are always nice to do too. I like new tools. I get that. There is a 2 o'clock rush usually, like right before and right after the 2 o'clock hour. Shiva! Yas. Yas, come be bait for me, cat. Convince the people scrolling past to stay for a while and listen. Yes, dear. It doesn't let me share. Boo!
So,
I know. I know. She would even come distract the people. Merlin's not napping behind me today. He was way distracting too.
yeah.
Really, really good at that. Hi, Raina. Thanks for wandering through for a minute. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday and a blessed case wherever you make your place. Yep, no, the 3 drawbacks. I don't know what music I can actually play on here. A lot of people play like radio and things when they've got their lives going, and I just haven't wanted to get too far into that because 1, competes with your own voice. 2, what kind of music would I put on there anyway?
Probably Snapchat.
You're exactly right. And so I downloaded an app to start trying to make some things, and I've got the starting bits of a bass line going, but I haven't gotten deep enough into it to figure out how to make it loop. It's a little problematic.
I don't know, ask Rez. She can put it out in the basement.
She sure did. So we just need to convince Ashley to sell us the laptop.
It's just an upgraded version.
Yep. Doesn't do too bad.
No, they're good. Fix
It'll even let me stream my video games
it.
from my phone through this to TikTok.
Yeah, well, mine's 10 years older than that. But I bet you your RAM's soldered in there and you can't upgrade it, so do it.
Wow, boo, I will accept. I don't mind being booed. I'm used to it.
That's why desktop's the way to go.
You're right. I know you're right. So, the next goal then is going to be buying ourselves a desktop.
It's your next goal, it's not mine. It's your next goal.
I'll buy a computer and I will install video editing on it and 3D rendering, and then I'll
Alright,
say,
I'll
Sarah,
teach you how to use it.
come play, Sarah. And I'll make you play. And I will watch and I
Are
will
you gonna
learn.
pay me?
Sure.
Pay me to be your content creator, so you better be.
I'll pay you. I can live with that. It shouldn't all be free forever, right? Like at the end of the day, at some point you want the network of businesses to actually, hi Yippee, good to see you.
No, don't be successful.
Well, we'll find a way. There's always a way. I
OnlyFans.
do really.
Just your feet.
My feet aren't nice for that. My feet aren't nice enough for OnlyFans. I do also really like the customization that they give here, and that is just built right into their own studio is smart. Don't have to do streaming codes through Streamlabs or anything like that. Might be a little bit more limited because of that, but it gets the job done. I can actually put my information on the screen now instead of just having to tell people it over and over and over again.
Well, that's helpful.
It's way more helpful. Like I'm so used to saying over and over again, all cards requested will be honored and find it on YouTube after the fact. And nope, it's just written there now. That's technology. Thank you for reminding me that they probably had a website.
Duh.
10 minutes to 2 down here in Mountain Time. Oh, are we going to Sherry's today? Okay. They are ready. Haven't folded the laundry yet, but it is all done. Because if not, I don't mind just waiting down the clock and trying to catch the next big stream bubble. Catch the right one on the East Coast after
See,
5
if you're
o'clock.
smart, you would stop your stream and then add the 2 o'clock rush one as a separate one because it gives you more content on YouTube.
Thought about that and might. The question is, because I've been streaming for a long period of time, it counts it as a 120-minute stream. And those longer streams sometimes get bigger bumps in the algorithm because they've been on there longer, so they're obviously putting in more work. Logging on, logging off doesn't necessarily bump you up in the algorithm quite the same way. I love this new setup. I'm looking at the themes, and I didn't do anything too fancy there for this just yet, but all it is images on the background, a bit of customization on the file usage, and I don't do the... Why are you kicking me out? It beeped. See, we were talking like that, and it beeped on me. It beeped. It beeped. See, we were talking like that, and it beeped on me. It beeped. Oh, and I'm not sure why. Let's close all this, make sure there's nothing there. Oh, did the radio signals finally get to me too? We could try